Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's April 7th and another landmark for global health authorities to pause and evaluate how much progress has been made in the concerted effort to provide relatively accessible healthcare to the world's 8 billion inhabitants. According to the World Health Organization, the theme of this year's commemoration, My Health, My Right, was chosen to champion the right of everyone, everywhere, to have access to quality health services, education and information, as well as safe drinking water, clean air, good nutrition, quality housing, decent working and environmental conditions, and freedom from discrimination. For us here in Nigeria, a litany of questions arise every time the issue of rights is brought into the conversation, and funding for the health sector is, to say the least, still abysmally low. So, which way forward? Well, we're going to speak with Dr. Henry Ewunonu, a spokesman, Health Sector Reform Coalition, as he joins us now from the Arise Abuja studios to have a conversation. Good morning to you, sir, and it's nice to see you on the morning show.
No.
Good morning, Dr. Henry Ewunonu. Well, it seems we are having yes. So we're talking about...
A little technical glitch there. I'm sure that Dr. Ewunonu will return to speak with us. You know, it's a subject matter expert, you know, and of course it would be nice to hear from him, particularly on the theme for this year's World Health Day. My health, my right. You know, what right do we have? What rights are we enjoying, especially as Nigerians? You know, on a day like this that the whole world is celebrating World Health Day. What are the things that we're hearing from those who are in charge of, you know, the health ministries, not only at the federal, but also at the state? Are they speaking to us? Are there specific issues that they are trying to tackle? For example, you know, right to basic health, you know, facilities, right to, you know, potable water, for example, you know, right to a good environment. You know, those are the sort of a thing that a day like this, you know, will remind you of. And of course, it shouldn't be all about government, but there is a need to have government give the direction, and then all the other civil societies, especially those who are playing within the health and medical sector, you know, what's the kind of message? And I think it is important that this were given that one of the biggest sectors mostly hit by the Japa syndrome will be the health and tech, you know, industry. So it would be nice to hear from Dr. Ewunonu, who I believe is back. I think you might want to bring him back now.
Dr. Ewunonu, are you back with us?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Nice to have you on the morning show. So we're talking about World Health Day, My Health, My Right. And I actually want to start off with children's health and especially the nutrition, early nutrition for young children. Do you think that we're on the right path here in Nigeria? And do you think the rights of children are protected when it comes to giving them the right nutritional balance to grow into healthy adults?
Thank you for having me. I think when we start partitioning the different sectors, different age groups, when we come to talk about health, we're not doing justice to the topic. Health is a compact. Yes, children, pregnant women, the elderly, these are the vulnerable groups, the physically challenged, the vulnerable group. But health should be for all, and that is what today is talking about. My health, my right, health for all. But specifically to your question, justice is not being done. How can the nutrition and other health needs of children be prioritized when the parents who are supposed to provide that care, they are no longer able to care for themselves first? Almost every initiative is sinking holes in their pockets. So the pockets are empty. Where would the food come from? government does, except now that you hear state governors, the federal government giving people palliatives, maybe some cups or noodles of rice and some things that cannot last for 1 week. That is not sustainable. So, health of children, pregnant women, the elderly, physically challenged, which we group together as the vulnerable, we are not getting it right.
All right, Dr. Ewunonu, thanks for giving us a clarification on that. But let us return to the theme for today's celebration, My Health, My Right. Talk to us about the significance of today and the significance of this theme and how it relates to Nigeria. And one key example to use will be what the WHO said about the fact that there are about 140 countries of the world where health is considered to be a human right in their constitution. Is Nigeria part of those 140 countries? If we're not, what would be your message to the people in authority? Why we celebrate today? What sort of rights, inalienable rights, do you think that the government should begin to think of so that Nigerians can also enjoy, like the other 140 countries of the world who have health rights enshrined in their constitutions?
Thank you once again. Of the 195 recognized countries of the world, 140 have entrenched health in the constitution of their federations. Even some Africans have done that, countries like Angola, Algeria, Seychelles, South Africa. Unfortunately, West African countries are not doing well. Some of them that were colonized by the Commonwealth countries are not doing well. We don't know why. So why would nations decide to make health a part of their constitution? The constitution, as we all know, is the ground norm of the country, the modern legislation. That demonstrates the highest level of, political will, the highest level of authority, highest level of accountability. That is what making health a part of the Constitution is. The 1999 Constitution, as amended in Chapter 2, mentioned health. Of course, we'll have Federal Minister of Health and Minister of Health. Again, somewhere, I think Section 17 or so, we hear that the purpose of government is welfare and security, and people tend to believe that health is part of that. But that is not what all these countries have done. What they have done is to do what we are pleading for today. Make health to be part of Chapter 4 of the Constitution, where other justiciable rights are domiciled, such that the people can lay a claim, so that there will be a bill of entitlements, so that health will no longer be seen as just mere democracy dividend, a privilege. When when the governor deems it fit, he will build a health center. When he deems fit, he will construct a general hospital. If he likes, he may not bring nurses and doctors and other health workers to work there. If he likes, in a particular state, the health workers may be owed for upwards of 20 months, as we saw the last time in Abia State. So, if health is a constitution, people can now go and challenge failure to deliver health care to them. So this is the WHO reason that unless you elevate health to this status, it will just be moving around the whims and caprices of those in power, and it will not it will not be given that attention that it deserves. And of course, this is why this topic could not have come. The World Health Day 2024 could not have come, and the theme for today couldn't have come at a better time when the National Assembly of Nigeria is considering amending the 1999 Constitution, even as amended. And the Health Sector Reform Coalition, which I speak for, has sent proposals, memorandum, to the amendment committees of the two chambers to say domicile health, specifically providing for compulsory health insurance for Nigerians. 2, making it mandatory, that is making it compulsory, then providing for the health of the most vulnerable. We have talked of pregnant women, under 5 children. We are talking of the elderly, those 65, 70 and above. The physically challenged who cannot fend for themselves, because whatever happens, the burden of diseases, the morbidity, the mortality, they account for our national statistics, which is very dismal for now. So today, and the team of today couldn't have come at a better time. The other 140 countries of the world that have made health justiciable right in their constitution, I don't think they are foolish.
Thank you, sir. Well, you spoke earlier about certain segments of society, just as women, young children, and people with disabilities who are suffering from maybe discrimination in our nation. We had a recent story, of course, of the incident in the KFC in the airport, which brought up the topic of disability rights. So when it comes to health outcomes in Nigeria, do you believe that these segments of society have it much worse in terms of health outcomes? And also, just to bring it to a general view, do you believe that access to water in Nigeria is at a critical point right now, especially access to clean water, especially when we're talking about environmental challenges and the heat wave that we're currently facing?
Yes. This is the reason why I opined at my intro that health is a compact. Health education and awareness, health promotion programs, the curative part of medicine, unfortunately, which most of our citizens consider as health. That is disease. When we are sick and go to hospital, we are already talking of disease. We are no longer talking of health. So all this prevention, curative, rehabilitative parts of medicine, including educational awareness and enlightenment, these form a compact of what we are talking about. As per the vulnerables of the society, we have not given them the right of place. We have not considered them. We have not prioritized them. Whatever caused their disabilities, yes, we don't know. But we as a nation should rise up to protecting them, to speaking for them, to giving them opportunities to also thrive in the society. Today, there are many threats to health. You mentioned about the heat wave. What is making this heat wave worse now? Climate change, global warming. We see how the foliage is being destroyed. People are not planting trees. The threats of desertification, so real. Today we see, sometime last week, Abuja was 42 degrees centigrade, around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And we know that after 42 degrees centigrade, health cannot be guaranteed again. So in the future, our health will be vulnerable to We are going to be vulnerable to ailments like heat stroke and so on. We are talking of the insurgents, the bandits, preventing farmers from going to farms. So food security is threatened. Nutrition is one big aspect of health. We are talking of the economic downturn, where drug manufacturers are leaving our country, and our country is not, the manufacturing sector in our country is not thriving. Today, most common antibiotics that save people from dying. Why am I mentioning antibiotics? Because the highest cause of mortality in Nigeria is infection. Most common antibiotics in the country, a typical civil servant in this country today cannot afford it conveniently. Very prominent companies, which I don't want to mention their name, that produce very potent antibiotics have all left. So when you look at all this, you see that we are threatened. We are being burgeoned from all sides. Today should be a sober day. If I were the president, I would have called for a sort of conclave, the type he has been doing for when he's breaking fast. Come, let us discuss, reason together about the health of our people. Let us not just use today to do press conference, do street walks, as most people would do. Maybe in our nation today, you will still see the federal minister, the minister will address a press conference. That is good. He needs to give an account of the state of health of Nigerians. But we need to do more. The president, the leader of the executive, with the state governors, the legislature at all levels, the business sector, the organized private sector, the journalists, as you, I thank Arise for inviting us and making this an issue. I'm sure there are other topics they could have featured. So we need to come together to say, what do we do? There is a crisis on our hands. People, less than 10% of Nigeria have one form of insurance, health insurance or another. It means that up to 90% of Nigerians pay out of their pockets. And we know today that there are several holes in our pockets. The latest one is the hike in electricity tariff. So if 90% of our people are going to pay from their pockets, and several millions of Nigerians are multidimensionally poor, the hospitals don't have all they need. University College Hospital Ibadan was disconnected sometime last week because they have not been paying power bills. So if the hospitals are not there, people cannot afford to pay because they don't have money. The inputs in the hospital, the equipment, the drugs, the vaccines are not there. The environment is threatening health. Banditry and insurgency, they're threatening food security, a major pillar of health. So where do we go from here? So today is a serious day. It is not a day for jamboree. It's a day for serious introspection because all is not well with our state of health of Nigerians.
All right, Doctor. I would like you to also speak to funding as it affects the health sector in Nigeria, specifically as it affects the federal budget for 2024. I like the fact that you said that the Health Sector Reform Coalition, of which you are a member, and spokesperson, has put forward some proposal to the federal government. But you know that this year, for the 28 trillion budget that we have for the country, only 1.3 trillion was allocated to health, which represents about 4.6%. It is not likely that we have ever crossed the 5% threshold. If you benchmark that, against the countries with health expenditure to GDP ratio, where of course US is the leader in that, in that sphere, with 16.6%, Germany at 12.7%, and France at 12.1%. It's obvious that we are not doing very well, and you have acknowledged that most West African states are not doing very well. What will be your word to the two health ministers, Professor Pate and Mr. Tunji, Dr. Tunji, today in terms of funding for health? Dr. Tunji Alausa. Yes. Please go ahead.
Yes, I congratulate them. The last time I was here, I said perhaps God brought them at this time. Minister Professor Pate is somebody I'll describe when we talk of road transport as a very good driver. He's a very good driver with the necessary driving skills, expert driver. And he knows the road. He knows the path he should take. But the vehicle is bad. There's no fuel in the vehicle, which I can correlate with the funding. The vehicle is not moving well. The road is bad, filled with several types of potholes. So what will this minister do? Let me take us back to 25th of April 2001 at the International Conference Center in Abuja. African heads of state of government came here and said, with the threat of HIV, tuberculosis, malaria, diarrhea, cholera, and so on threatening our citizens. We need to do more. Therefore, we need to commit at least 15% of our national revenue appropriations to health. Unfortunately, since that time, it was around 2013 or 2012 that Nigeria got to about 7%. As you have said just a few minutes ago, we are at 4-point-something%. So we, the country that hosted that particular conference, I'm sure we're the major signatory to that document called the Abuja Declaration of 2001. We are not anywhere. And to shock us more, year upon year, the Federal Minister of Health returns unspent funds. So this is double jeopardy. We are not putting enough for health, and we are not spending enough. So where is the problem? Part of the problem comes with the procurement policies and the practices of the Federal Ministry of Health. You know, funds are released towards the end of the year. At that time, because a minister has been sacked before for not returning unspent funds. So people are afraid, they return it. So let them start, as the budget has been signed, let them kickstart the procurement process and hold on to the award letter. When the funds are ready, they issue the award letter so that our people could be better served. That's about funding. Another aspect is the Section 11 of the National Health Act 2014 that prescribes at least 1% of the Consolidated Revenue Fund to fund what that particular section called Basic Healthcare Package for all Nigerians. So you and I are entitled to a basic healthcare package. How many Nigerians know that they are entitled to some form of healthcare delivery on an annual basis? Today, we have the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, which is 1% of the Consolidated Revenue Fund. But its disbursement, again, met some hiccups, which the present the leaders of the ministry are trying to correct. Let them correct it fast. Part of our problem has been lack of that sense of urgency. We feel that, yes, we can go. We say, when can we meet again? 2 months' time to deliberate this. National Council of Health, come and meet, and so on. But let us demonstrate a greater sense of urgency to say, how many pregnant women will die today because they lack access to health care? How many of their 5 children are dying today because they have that diarrhea? How many people will die today because they can't afford blood transfusion? How many other people? Hospitals are not functioning because the health workers are on strike. That sense of urgency is not there. And nobody is holding, the citizens are not holding the government at all levels to account. Do we know that the local government system is supposed to take care of primary health care? Who is calling the governors out for poor healthcare delivery in their states? You see a governor that has only 5 doctors in employment in his state ministry of health receiving awards for, good governance. If not for the federal government that's intervening with the university teaching hospitals, federal medical centers, Nigeria, the morbidity and mortality statistics in Nigeria, of course, we would have confessed, as we confessed in some other very, very unsavory parameters.
All right, Dr. Henry Ewunonu, we want to thank you so much for joining us on the morning show today. And of course, we wish you a happy World Health Day. Thank you indeed.